Welcome back to another episode of the Power Up Progression podcast. I am super pumped to introduce my guest today, my man, Joe Arko. Joe is a father, entrepreneur, business consultant, international public speaker, published writer, and health and fitness educator. He's been in the health and fitness world since 1998. He's also a founder and owner of Advanced Training System Certifications program. But not only that, him and his partner, Sara, they run a company called Learn to Earn, which is a consulting business developed to teach and mentor fitness professionals to turn their passion into profits. But look, guys, it didn't come easy. Being homeless twice and almost losing his gym due to fraud, he never gave up on his dreams. So he climbed his way back up to the top, where in 2017, he was awarded with a 2017 International Trainer of the Year award. And not only that, he was actually nominated for the Fitness Hall of Fame. And not to mention, this guy's crushing it on so many different levels, TV shows, public speaking engagements, you name it. And I'm glad to introduce to you guys my new friend, Joe Arko. What is going on, brother? How are you?
I'm taking you everywhere I go so you can intro me at every event. In fact, when I come into the house and I open the door, you're standing there and you're like, ladies and gentlemen, Joe's in the house, and just go through that whole thing again. That'd be awesome.
Yes. Boys and girls, children of all ages. We have here Joe Arko. Yes. I love it, man.
WWF, man.
Yes. You know, he gets paid a lot of money, that guy, to go ahead and do Let's Get Ready to Rumble. So
but I'm actually pumped, man. I'm very pumped to be on here today, and I really appreciate you inviting me on. And hopefully my major goal today is to give you exactly what you need, give your listeners any insight, any knowledge, or any kind of kick in the fucking ass to make some changes to make their life better. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, brother. And that's why I brought you on. So I had Sara on, your partner. And by the way, she is a badass chick. She is a rock star, and you guys are a power couple. And I love watching you guys on social and just interacting with you guys. You guys are studs. And I'm super appreciative to be a part of, the network with you guys. And so tell us a little bit, man. Like, I want to dive deep into what you're doing currently. But when I mentioned to you earlier before we got on, I said, man, what struggles have you had to overcome? We talked about being homeless and the fraud, but like, let's rewind even before that. Tell us a little bit about who Joe is, where you grew up, your upbringing, and let's kind of dive in there.
Man. So I grew up in Southern Ontario, just outside of Toronto, in a little place called Port Credit. For most of my childhood, it was just me and my dad growing up. My mom left when I was really early. I was about 3 years old when she left. That's a whole other podcast. I ended up meeting her many, many moons later. So me and my dad grew up in a very small apartment. We didn't come from a lot of money. We weren't rich people. We, very working class kind of environment. Spent a lot of time with my uncles, my grandparents up in northern Quebec. So I came from a very, hunting, fishing background, outdoors background. All my family were, they either worked in factories or they worked in the mines, and just very, blue collar people. So I grew up in a very simple life with simple values, hardworking values. And, you kind of, make a little money, have a little fun, and that's kind of life. And that's about it. Grew up playing hockey, very competitive hockey, suit and tie, grade 4 suit tie. If you didn't win enough, you got your ass skated. It was, a very hard, strenuous. I mean, from grade 4 on, it's 250 days out of the year was hockey. So a lot of what I learned from business came from family and hockey, from terms of discipline, drive, always looking to improve yourself, always looking to be better. Those kind of things. I definitely got a lot of stuff from my early childhood, whether it's good or bad or ideal or not ideal, I took a lot out of it and definitely made me who I am today.
So hold on a minute. Were you always this big? Because you on skates, brother. Look, I'm a huge New York Ranger fan. I'm a big hockey fan. And you on skates kind of scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm like 6'3", 6'4" without skates. 260, 265. Funny enough, so in terms of like me in the fitness industry, in high school, my nickname was Lanky. I don't have it anymore, but I remember getting a trophy. I was on the volleyball team, and everyone had nicknames like the Hammer and Spike, and I got Lanky. I was like, fuck, are you kidding me? Lanky? I was like 160 pounds in high school, man. I was just a skinny kid. We wore uniforms, and even with a t-shirt and a sweater, you can still see my shoulder blades sticking out of my back. Like, people made fun of me all the time. I grew up, I was a goalie, so I wasn't a defenseman. I should have been a defenseman. I might have made it a little bit further. I was a goalie growing up, and I got drafted to the OHL when I was 17. And I remember they told me that unless I started putting on 30 or 40 pounds, I would never play hockey again. And, being 17 years old, I was like, shit, like, I guess I need to do something. And I just fell in love with fitness. And, I'll never forget being like a little kid watching Conan the Barbarian, like every other kid, growing up watching Arnold. And I literally, like overnight, one thing we'll get into today is like, I'm either all in or I'm not. Like, I am super laser focused. And if you tell me I can't, I will fuck you up and make sure I can. Yeah. So when someone said to me, like, you're not drafting and you're not going to play hockey again unless you gain 30 pounds, I'm like, challenge accepted. I don't know shit about gaining weight. I don't know shit about working out, but I will take that challenge. And literally in about 6 months, I gained 30 pounds. And first thing I did was, I went and I started reading Flex magazine because those guys are huge. Mm-hmm. Right. So, this is way back in the day during the Dorian highlights, and Jay Cutler was just coming on the scene, and Gunter Schlierkamp and Miko Sarchez, all these guys, like all those guys, I fell in love with bodybuilding. And then I started going backwards, the Lee Haney days, the pumping iron. And I fell in love with anything related to food, fitness, training, you name it. And by the time I was 18, I remember being in physics class, and I'm not doing physics homework. I'm running programs for my friends. So they're watching me just like transform my body, like, dude, write me a program. Dude, write me a program. And I'd spend like lunch hours. Any break I had, any lunch hour I had, I'd be in the school gym, or I'd be in the community center and just working out. The most ridiculous workouts in the world, like chest 3 times a week and stupid shit like that. Like, it was ridiculous.
Every day is International Chest Day.
Yeah, but you know what? But it worked because I just stuffed my face like I never had before. I was driven, I was focused, and I figured, hey, you know what? Success leaves clues. Mm-hmm. So if you want me to be big, fuck it. I'll learn from the guys who are the biggest in the world. So if it works for Dorian, I'll do it too. And if it works for Arnold, I'll try it too. And the shit started to work, and I fell in love with it. Ended up playing another year of hockey and decided I had a choice between hockey and school, and I chose school. So I decided to leave hockey and go to university at York. Did my first year of human kinetics there. And then life went to shit. Life definitely took a little bit of a turn. I moved out of my house when I was 18 years old. So trying to balance work, school, car, insurance, food, all that stuff started to pile up, and work started to take over more than school did. Started hanging around with the wrong people. Next thing you know, I was dropping one class, dropping a second class. By my second year, I dropped out completely, and I was just working full time. I was bouncing 5 nights a week. I was working in a warehouse 5 days a week, hanging around with some interesting people. Let's just say that, just people I wouldn't normally associate with anymore in my life. Hey, everyone in the world has their place, and there's some interesting people, but I just happened to find the wrong ones. So usually most of my days, ended around 3 a.m. Bouncing up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work. So mornings usually started with a couple of bumps, either some speed, something like that, to get through the days. And then at night was the opposite end, just trying to get through life and to escape life. And it was just a cycle over and over every single day. And this went on for about a year. My parents had no idea where I lived, where I was, what I was doing, had no idea I dropped out of school, massive amount of debts. I just turned 20 at the time. You kind of like went, how the fuck did I go from, it's a little known fact that, at the age of, in grade 5, I was sent to a special school for very gifted kids. I learned at a very accelerated rate. I was learning at, 3 or 4 years ahead of my level. So I was this really gifted child who was also not only a nerd, but a fucking amazing athlete. So I had no friends, because the geeks didn't like me because I was so good at sports, and the jocks are like, you're such a nerd. What the hell's going on? So I always lived in my own little world there.
The hell out of people.
But I mean, my entire life, I was extremely amazing at sports, and I was extremely gifted at school. And suddenly at 20, I'm not doing either. I'm not in school or playing sports. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long to go down that slope, and it's not like a 5-year journey, or it's almost like someone being in really good shape, and then 1 week turns into 2 weeks, and next thing you know, 5 months later, like, how the fuck did I put on 20 pounds?
Yep.
That's what happened to me with life. My life got fat. I became obese in life, not physically, but like everything around me just kind of crumbled. And then on June, I'll never forget this, June 23rd on a Friday in 2000, I said, that's it. I had enough. Parents finally found me. I was so embarrassed. I'm bouncing at strip clubs. I'm doing drugs all the time. I'm working at a warehouse. I've given up hockey. I've dropped out of school. I'm like, and now my parents just found out. And I was like, that's it. Like this is enough. So I was like, fuck it. Found some train tracks, took a little walk. And I just sat there. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And it was embarrassing. So I sat there for like 45 minutes and the train didn't come. And I'm like, I can't even fucking do this right. I'm like, there's no train. And now I'm just embarrassed. And now I'm upset. And now I'm pissed. And it was funny. Like I actually sat there, like I was like crying and laughing at myself at the same time. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. I'm like, oh my God.
21, right? 21 years old at this time?
I was 20. I was 20. I was 20 and I was just like, is there anything else I can't do right? Like, this is unbelievable. And I remember I called my buddy up. I was like, I walked to a payphone because back then we didn't have cell phones. This is back in the day. And I was like, dude, like, you got to come pick me up. And he hadn't heard from me in like months. Like a lot of my friends haven't heard from me, know what was going on, what I was doing. He was nice enough to come pick me up, went to his parents' house, spent like 3 days there just kind of cleaning up. And then I remember just going back home. I was like, fuck, I got to start over. And I made the decision. I was like, fucking never again will I ever in my life allow this kind of shit to happen. Moved cities, ended up going back to school, went to Ottawa, went back to school for firefighting, got a job at Good Life, and kind of started my fitness journey from there. I mean, to this day, I use it as such a tremendous amount of fuel to say, like, no matter what, like, no matter how fucking rock bottom you are, there's kind of a term that I started using called you're either a victim or a victor. Right. So any situation you can either use it as, well, I'm the victim of my circumstances, or I'm a victim of my family. I'm a victim of, whatever, people around me, my friends, or the economy, all this other bullshit. Or you can be the victor. I'm the victor in this circumstance, or I'm the victor of my community or my circumstances or my circle of friends. And I started to become more of a victor than a victim.
And I love that saying, because I truly believe that it kind of starts with, it's not your fault what happens to you, but it's your damn responsibility to change it, right? So if you're talking about being a victim around circumstances that you really had no control over, but I want to go there in a second. You said at 18 you moved out. I'm just curious why. Why did you decide to move out? You had a lot of shit going great for you, it seemed like, as far as the schooling and everything. And why did Joe decide at 18 say, you know what, I'm going on my own? I mean, I did that at 16, so I can tell you my reasons, but I'd love to hear yours.
Oh man, this might open Pandora's box, but that's okay. Just the home situation wasn't ideal. In terms of just environment, in terms of the relationships at home, in terms of just, it wasn't somewhere where I wanted to be or needed to be. And it got to the point where I was kind of given the ultimatum of like, you either pay rent here or you can leave. And at that point I wasn't even happy at home anyways. And I saw that as an invitation that, I kind of gave the big middle finger, saying, fuck you, watch me do it on my own. I'm not paying rent in a place where I don't want to be. So it was just a combination of just circumstances, no abuse or crazy shit like that, but just a lot of daily, when you're in environments that you just can't be around day after day after day, and it just, months turn into years, and suddenly like you're old enough to say, I don't have to be here anymore. I don't have to put up with this anymore. And not only that, but like trying to put myself through school and working as hard as I was, and then giving that ultimatum of like, I got to pay rent here too. I was like, fuck it, I'm out. Part of it was just stubbornness. Part of it was just, being 18 and being a complete arrogant asshole. And part of it was just, I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I think, honestly, like, I love the fact that, I moved out so early. I had responsibilities that none of my fucking friends had, like literally, like, I mean, again, this is going back 20 years. I had a basement apartment that was costing me $800 a month. And, and 20 years ago, and going to school, that was a lot of money.
Yeah. That age.
I know people now that, their mortgage or their rent's like $1,500. And, 20 years ago, when you're 20 years old, or, 18, 19 years old, and you're paying $800 just for rent, plus your food. I'd gone to a car accident the year before. My insurance was about $300 a month, plus my car payments. So for my operational expenses just to live were like $2,000 a month.
Not including the drugs that you had to buy in order to continue the day that you're having. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it became such a struggle to just live. And you're like, wow, I can't go to school 5 days a week and work part-time and make $2,000 a month So then, and that's where I started doing the bouncing. Well, I can make, $100 a night doing bouncing or $150 a night doing bouncing. I can still go to school, and then that turned into bouncing turned into all night events and the wrong people and the wrong crowd. And, Wednesday, I would literally work at the warehouse from 7 a.m. to 3:30 Monday to Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, I would bounce from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. So from basically Tuesday night till Sunday, I didn't sleep. And that went on for a long, long time.
You were just trying to survive, though. I mean, in the end, that's all it was.
Yeah, I mean, trying to survive or just didn't know another way. It was just, it became so, the perception was there was no other way. And that's an honest answer, because there was a lot of other ways. It's just my perception at the time was I just felt stuck, and I felt this is the easiest thing to do. And once you're that deep, you're like, fuck it, what else am I going to do? I'm not going to go ask for help. I'm not going to go ask my parents for help. I'm not going to, you just keep going a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further down that line. And again, it goes back to the person, gaining weight. It's 5 pounds. It's not enough to make a change. It's 10 pounds. It's not really that noticeable. It's 15 or 20. Well, I'll just buy some different clothes. I don't look that bad. And then one day you wake up and like, how the fuck did this happen? Well, it happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And for me, it happened when I made the decision to get that job. It happened when I made the decision to drop that one class, or,
Compound
it was my responsibility. It wasn't circumstances. It was just me being a fucking idiot. And justifying the fact that, hey, you know what? I can do this, and I'll prove my parents wrong. I'll show them. It wasn't to the point where it just got worse and worse and worse till you hit a certain point where like, oops, okay, maybe that didn't work out so well for me.
Absolute rock bottom. Sometimes that is the best place to really start a foundation. But anybody that's listening to this right now, maybe they kind of know that they're starting to slip, right? Maybe it's in weight, maybe it's maybe it's in drugs, maybe it's just their mindset. There's something in their life that right now they see themselves slipping, and they're justifying it, saying, it's just a donut. It's just, I'm going to wait this thing out, or I'm going to go ahead and justify any way I can so I don't feel bad about the decisions I'm making, because that's the whole reason why we justify. What do you tell somebody right now on how you can tell them, dude, stop fucking justifying and change your life? What would you tell them to do, to think, to actually take action on? How can they get out of this right now?
I see this every day with our coaching clients. And honestly, like it's I'll get to the email tomorrow. I'll start the launch next week, or it's not perfect, so I'm not going to do it yet, or I'm too tired, so I'm just going to watch Netflix tonight. And honestly, like hitting that point in my life has been the best ever in my life, because I know what it's like. Every bad thing that's ever happened to me, I smile. And I've written so many articles, and we do a weekly update to all of our mentorship people and our coaching clients. And earlier this year, I lost a $60,000 deal because I fucked up. I fucked up big. I didn't nurture a client very well. I took it for granted, and overnight lost $60,000. And I remember losing that during our mentorship on lunch. Phone call during the mentorship. We have 15 people in a room. I get this phone call, and I'm just like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And I sat there and I smiled, and I'm like, I'm going to take this one on the chin. I'm going to learn from it. And the next day, Sarah and I spent 12 hours kicking ass and making that money back in about a week. And then that's, again, victim or victor. So I learned a huge valuable lesson that I made a mistake, so I'm going to take responsibility for that. When I get punched in the face in business, just like a fighter gets punched in the face in the ring, he doesn't fall down, he smiles. Right? A true fighter's going to smile, wipe the blood off, and go, you know what, you got me, but I'm going to get you back. And I think what's wrong is that a lot of people don't feel like they're getting hit hard enough, or they don't have a big enough reason or a big enough why. And there's a lot of people that I see personally, the ones that do the best, they got a big why. And that big why is not just financial. That big why is not just fame or fortune. Like they got a really good reason to wake up in the morning. You can ask Sarah, like, I hate sleeping. I really do. I feel like I'm just practicing to be in a coffin. Every night I'm like, I'm just practicing. One more day I'm practicing for when I die. Cause I'm just closing my eyes. I go away and then I wake up tomorrow. I got too much shit to do. I love waking up. I love Mondays. I love working really hard. Cause I set in what most people would consider to be very unrealistic goals. I got some pretty insane goals. but that's what keeps me excited. That's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me working. That's what keeps me, if I've got an hour off, I'm doing work. I'm the guy doing work in the bathroom when I'm on the toilet. I'm like, I got 10 minto here. Good. I'm going to write something, do something. I'm in the airport. I'm doing something. Because every day I feel like I get to work towards something that no one else is going to work towards. And that fuels me. I don't think a lot of people have enough reason. And that's why if their reason isn't big enough, they can validate wasting their time. I hate the word I'm bored. I hate the word I don't know what to do. Fucking pick up a piano, learn a new sport, do something different, read a book, fucking do something with your life.
Yeah.
If you're that content with where you are, maybe you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. And that's another factor I want to talk about. People aren't born. I really don't think people are made to be entrepreneurs. They're born entrepreneurs. And there's a lot of people right now in this industry, in this world, who are wannabe entrepreneurs, and I don't give a shit if people get pissed off at me for this. They're wannabe entrepreneurs because they think it's cool. They do not have the DNA to do so. Yep. They just don't. They don't have the life experiences. They watched fucking 4 Tai Lopez videos, and now they want to be an entrepreneur because it's awesome. And I'm like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No idea what it means to be an entrepreneur. I think there's a lot of people who can maybe be taught or develop those skills. But I personally think that the ones that are most successful, when you go back to their, to the time they're 3 years old, you're like, yeah, that kid's gonna be an entrepreneur. Like, you just know that there's something inside that person, and I see it. Like, and I want to create like some kind of like entrepreneurial, quiz before I coach someone. It's like 100 questions. I'm like, nope, you don't have the genes. Sorry, we can't take you. Because there's a lot of people now who just it's cool to be an entrepreneur. It's cool to work for yourself, and it's cool to live the dream. But no one, really, very few people really understand what it takes. Like, success is not overnight. It's really not, and it's not glamorous. It's not fun. It's not, there's a lot of pluses that come with it. I'm so super grateful for the life that I have for me, my kids, with me and Sarah, and the quote unquote luxuries we have. I was actually just talking to a friend this morning. My last day off was August 23rd. Literally 7 days a week since August 23rd, I have not had a day off. And I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm living the life, and I've done this for 20 years, just living the dream. Yeah. I've taught every weekend so far in September. We just got back. We spent 5 days in California, saw none of it. Dinner, boardroom, took a flight home, got home at 1 o'clock in the morning. We had an event Saturday. I taught Sunday. We kept going. That's being an entrepreneur. When it's there, you got to take it. We'll take rest when we need it. But that's what people don't really get. It's not, I can do a few posts and I can be Insta famous and I'm just going to work online and everyone's going to love me and give me a ton of money. And it's a very, I think year after year after year, it's getting a little more diluted. And in anything, it's better for people like me who can cut through that. But there's more and more people now than ever before who just want to be, coaches and online trainers and entrepreneurs and let me fix your problem and the Tai Lopez wannabes.
And I could not agree. I could not agree more, man. It's coming from such an unauthentic place as well, which is even crazier. And they're trying to be everything to everyone. And in the end, they're just going to be nothing to themselves. And we talked about before we jumped on, right? The glory versus the story. Like, people don't understand the story, the like you said, homelessness, right? The drug addiction, the late nights, going in and having a meeting, jumping on a plane, coming back to speak and having no time between, sleeping 3 hours, or having a product about to launch and doing everything you can, launching, and guess what? It fucking bombs. And then the pain of that, then what do you have to do mentally? Look, guys, if you're listening to this, you want to be an entrepreneur, right? If you want to be, by all means, go for it, but realize you have to have a degree in MIH, making it happen. It's that fucking simple, and you got to tie yourself to people like Joe and like people that are better than you in order to get there, because you can't just go take a course and think all of a sudden you could change thousands and thousands of lives. Like, you could change maybe 1 or 2 with some bullshit, but for you to truly have longevity in this game of business, you need to have what it takes, like Joe's talking about. And I want to talk about something, though, because you said this whole thing, why people are making fucking excuses and they're justifying things all because their why isn't strong enough. How do you help people find their why? What would you tell them right now? They're sitting there and like, damn, man, I agree, but I don't know how to find my why. What the hell do they do?
That's a tough question, honestly. And if your why, I don't think I'm the one to give you your why, because then you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the people that I work best with, they come to me with a really good why. They don't know how. And I love providing the how. I love providing, the what, but their why is there. I never want anyone. In fact, the funny thing is people try to change my why. I'm like, fuck you. That's my why. I don't hire coaches to tell me why I should go to bed, why I should work, why I should train hard, why I should, I hate the word grind, so pardon me, but grind it out. That's for me to decide. And I think I can help massage people. And one of anyone who's ever worked with me at a high level, Sarah's got some unbelievable superpowers. And I really think that my superpower is the way my brain works is the ability to take clutter and chaos and really create clarity for people. So people who are very overwhelmed, who want to do 25 different things, not sure how to do things, they come to me with like 10 pages of information. They leave with like 3 lines. They're like, holy shit. Like, I know what to do, how to do it. I have the clarity. I kind of describe what I do is like, you want to go out and you want to hunt and you want to kill a deer. If you're a vegan, close your ears. And so you're looking through a scope and you're looking through that scope, and that scope is completely out of focus. Even though you're pointing in the right direction, the chance of you hitting that deer is going to be very, very slim. So you want to hit the deer. You have the goal in mind. I come around, I take that scope and I focus it for you. And now you can see complete clarity as to what you're shooting towards. And now you can go towards it. That's what I love to do with people. I'm not there to hold the gun for you, pull the trigger for you, cut the deer for you, and put it in your mouth. You go, you do the work. I basically help create that clarity for you, so you have a very, very clear understanding of what you're shooting towards.
Yes, that's awesome. So cutting through the clutter and chaos to create clarity. Man, that's a nice little tagline right there. I like it. So what is Joe Arko's why? Well, what is your why, man, if you don't mind telling us?
Oh man. My why is, my uncle's an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur for a long time. He's up in northern Quebec. He owns I think like 8 to 10 cottages in the middle of nowhere. So people come in, they fly in, they hunt, they fish. And I remember being a little kid and watching him, and he was, I guess at that time, early 30s. There's a 40-mile kind of creek he has to go up, or a lake, and log by log, driving all this stuff up there and spending years and years and years and years, building this dream. And he still to this day works at the mine full time, and every weekend he's there working on his business. And I loved seeing that. But I saw so many people saying like, oh, you're nuts and you can't do it. And it's impossible. So part of me is like, I want to be like the most successful entrepreneur in our family. Like my entire family is very simple people. They're awesome, awesome people. Hunt, fish, you got a boat, you got a skidoo, you're happy. You work in the mine, you get a job, cool. But I want to be like, the entire family can be like, holy shit, like he busted his ass and look what he did. My other why is just, my kids. I want to make sure that not they have everything. I don't want to give them shit. Like, I really don't. I don't want to hand feed them. They see, like me and Sarah work from home. We have a beautiful loft where we have our offices, and they see us work every day. My kids have known when I was frauded. My kids know when the business has been shit. They know when it's been good. They even know what ROI means. They're 12 and 10. I want to show them what's capable and what's possible, but also what's not easy. I want to show them, the life they can live if they decide to. If they want, my daughter wants to be a vet. Cool, be a vet. Start learning now. You're 10, here's a book. Get the leg up on everyone else. This year, my son did a project last year he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and we opened up the store and we worked hard. We created, I went on GoDaddy. We created a website. We're on Photoshop creating logos and stuff. I'm like, you better be better than anyone else in your class doing this project, or you're not going to be an entrepreneur. So I just want to give them a lot of skills. And then for me, like I'm easily, and I wrote this to our mentorship group on Sunday when we did our accountability. Like, I am my worst critic. I'm probably harder on me. I hate me sometimes. Like, I honestly, I battle, myself so much. And one of my good friends, Matt, remember during the summer, he asked, he's like, dude, like, why are you so hard on yourself? Like, you don't realize like how much you've done and how much you help people and how successful you are. I go, you know what? Personally, I think that's the problem with society. They're too easy on themselves. That's why we're so fucking mediocre. Everyone says, oh, you know what? I'm okay. And I'm okay with doing this. And they live in this fucking happy bubble of like mediocre is good enough. And that pisses me off more than anything. So if I'm not gonna be my own worst critic, and if I can't be the one to impress, I'm never gonna be here just to impress other people. I set my goals so high that, Jim Rohn once said, like, set a goal to make $1 million, not for the money, but for what it makes of you to make that money.
Yes.
And I want to be better than the guy I was when I was 19 or 20 or 25. So I want to be able to look back one day and go, like, I set them so high, I reached them, and I'm proud of myself.
That's awesome. And you talked about your goals. You got some big audacious goals, right? I think too many people are going online and figure out how the hell do I set goals, because they either have set them and they bombed and now they never want to set them again because they don't want to have that, the fear of failure happen, or they set them, they put them in a drawer and they have no fucking clue what they even set because it's sitting there collecting dust. And if they go on Google or whatever and they look up goal setting, I mean, what is there, 5 million pages of 10 million different ways on how you can goal set? What does Joe do? And do you have a specific way you maybe have your clients set goals for, success?
I'm so glad you asked this question. This wasn't even planned either. So it's not, we talked about this beforehand. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because people do not understand goal setting properly. I have 3 words, and this is how I set my goals. First of all, I don't set goals. I create targets. So 3 words: targets, deadlines, and processes. So I have a target in place. I create a deadline when I want to hit that target, and then I reverse engineer what's the process for me to get there.
I'm writing notes down. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, right away. So for example, so let's say from a business perspective, a shitty ass goal. Oh, I want to have a lot of people in my mentorship program starting next week. And then you sit back and people just like smile and wait and see if it happens. Well, that doesn't fucking work.
Nope.
Right. So for me, I have a target. So again, let's go back to that hunting analogy. I come from a hunting family. I'm wearing a shirt right now that says Mr. Steak on it. So
it's pretty awesome.
That analogy really resonates with me. My target is going to be the animal, right? My deadline is between this day and this day, I'm going hunting for that animal. My process, I have my gun, I have I'm going to, have my stand, or here's what I do to increase my odds of doing that. In business is the same thing. So I've got a target. I want 15 people in my mentorship. By when? Last week, we spent 2 months prepping for that. What's my process? Okay, so we're going to do a social media post 4 times a week with a proper call to action, with a story, with a hitch, with a twist, with a turn, blah, 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 blah. We're going to do an email blast 3 times a week, sharing a story, looking at the problem, solution, call to action. We're going to do an outreach. We create a process. And then we can literally analyze each process, saying which is working, which isn't. I've done all these social media posts, but no one has contacted us. Well, let's reevaluate. The social media post is not working. Maybe it's the video. Maybe it's the wording. Maybe it's the picture. We need to change that approach. Everything comes down to basically a formula, right?
And for the process, do you put deadlines on that? So you go ahead, you have your target, right? Let's say 15 people in my mentor program, and I'm going to have the process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then do you put a date on each thing? So number 1, the date is this. Number 2, the date is.
So, I mean, if you look at my calendar, like, we're extremely organized people. Like, every Sunday, we basically look at what Sarah needs to do and what I need to do for the week. We break that down for the day. So every day I know exactly what she's doing, what I'm doing, working towards our ultimate goal in our business. So we have those daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. We have goals that stretch up to 2021, right? And so if we're not doing the stuff that we're doing now, then we can't do the stuff that we need to do in January, which means that we can't do the stuff that we want to do in 2020. Right. So it all just works backwards. And I mean, what's amazing is, like, this seems like this is not rocket science, people. Like, when you went into grade 9 science, you're in biology class, you had a science project, you had a hypothesis. If I cut the frog, it's going to do this, and here's what I'm looking for, and then here's the process. And if every single person took that sheet of paper and followed the process, they got the same results. Where I see people lacking is they have a shit process. I want 10 new clients. Okay, what are you going to do? I don't know. Post what? I don't know. Well, your process fucking sucks. Simple as that. Like if I look at your process, I can predict your targets. But the problem is people have their targets with no process. Show me your process, not your targets.
Yes. Okay, so that's huge. So anybody listening to this, it's thinking about the targets, but I think you're absolutely correct, Joe, about the process. What the fuck does it look like? And then having a pulse on it. I think that's another thing I need to ask you, because we could have all the processes in the world. We could have the targets in the world. but how do we truly have a pulse on these processes? Now, it may be different for what process it is, but do you have like a metric that you run? Do you have like a day to week that you look at the processes that you have in place to make sure that you're hitting the targets? Like, what does that look like for you?
Well, I guess it depends on the process that I have. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like, let's use an example. I'll use a real life example of a project we ran this year. So in May, we put together a program called the Anatomy of a Workout. So I saw a problem in the industry where trainers just suck at designing programs. Like, they're awful. You know, whether it's big box gyms, studios, you name it. Everyone's got 95 different certifications. They can do all kinds of amazing shit, but they can't design programs still. So we decided to come up with a program. This is back in May, called the Anatomy of a Workout, where we're going to give you over a half a decade of pre-done programs. I don't care if it's hypertrophy, metabolic conditioning, hybrid training. I will give you the workouts with variations for years. So all you need to do is put your client's name on there, modify some things if you need to, but now the templates are done for you. So I had this idea going, you know what, this is going to be a multi-million-dollar business by the end of next year. So the end of 2019. That's my target. May of 2018, literally, okay, step one, let's lay out the programming. Step two, myself and Kennedy, my partner, literally, he had a sleepover at my house for days. A grown-ass man having sleepovers, and where we would just work 12 hours a day putting together all the content. So step one, put all the content together. Great. Step two, send it off to a designer, make it look pretty. Step three, run some live courses, build some hype, blah, 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 blah. We've now run 7 sold out courses. We're doing our whole live event at the end of the year, and we launch our online program in January. We've gone down to the States. I've gotten about at least 10 people now that we're doing all of our affiliate stuff with. I don't know shit about affiliate programming. Great. Target. Find out how to do affiliate programming. Process. Who's doing it? Talk to that person. Be fucking resourceful. Pretty simple. Right? So we've literally just I reverse engineered how many we have to sell, who we have to affiliate with to break $1 million next year. And it's not that hard. Right? But this is basically, people will see the success at the end of next year going, wow, overnight success. I'm like, no, bitch, that started in May of 2018. We're tallying our hours doing this because it's been a fun activity. We're actually over 250 hours right now. Wow. 250 hours we've put into this programming. We've hired videographers. We're starting our Facebook ads as of November, and all this has been timelined, right? So from May, content, make it look pretty, get into the website, teach some courses, now learn the affiliate stuff. I'm blinking and I'm like, dude, September's over. October's around the corner. I got 30 days, and that's my fuel to really hammer this out, make it look great, get it all done, packaged so that, people who affiliate can take a look at it in November. We can fine tune stuff, and we launch this hard in January.
And so you're super productive, man. It seems you're very regimented, right? Like structured.
I'm chaotically regimented.
Okay.
I'm not Mr. Every 15 minutes of my day is accounted for. Mm-hmm. And I don't consider myself to be a highly productive person until I hang out with normal people. And I'm just like, what do you do with your day? I really, we don't watch TV. I don't watch sports, nothing against it. I don't have time. I'm really driven. What excites me is building a legacy and building a business. And the fact that I get to do this with Sarah is even better. Because most couples, if they don't work together, they're like, oh, why do you always work so much? And why are you on your phone? Or why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? We travel together. We do our businesses together. So we go for dinner, notepads are with us. We're talking about business. We love doing that. So that's also, circumstances, yes, much easier for me to be very intertwined with business, but it's my jam. I get off on creating stuff. I really love being able to change a trainer or a business person. That wakes me up in the morning. So yeah, I'm regimented where I love maximizing my time, my day. My brain is constantly going what can I do today to make my business always better?
Asking yourself the right question, right? I think that's a big thing. Asking better questions. When you're 18, you ask yourself the wrong damn questions. You end up a bouncer and working at a warehouse and doing drugs. You know what I mean? That's just the way it works. And you talk about waking up, and I love asking this question because I feel the most important 4 hours of our day are truly the 2 when we wake up and then the 2 before we go to sleep. Real quick, what does the 2 hours when you wake up look like, and what do the 2 before you go to sleep look like?
Oh man. So the 2 hours when I wake up, it's usually dark outside. It depends on the day. I kind of cycled. So Ideally, Sarah and I created and built a meditation room in our house. So one of our spare rooms was basically like a storage room. We're like, screw it, it's a gorgeous meditation Zen room. Like, you walk in there and the family cannot use it unless you're meditating or reading. So there's no electronics in there. There's no, TV, no nothing. It's just a nice Zen room. So usually in the morning, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes in there, going through some meditation, then I get into like planning mode. So, while I'm making breakfast or making a shake, I'm kind of going through my day saying, like, these are the top 3 things that have to get done. Here's all my little tedious shit that needs to get done. Have something to eat. I go to the gym, work out first thing in the morning. So my head is now clear, like what needs to get done for the day. Go to the gym, work out, come home, tackle the day. Days that we have the kids, all this gets done by 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm usually up, meditated, get my work done, emails done, workout done, home by 7, feed them, get them to school, come home by 9 o'clock and start working. Days that we don't have them, which is 2 days out of the week, it's a little bit different. Usually I'll get a little bit of work done in the morning first, like some pressing stuff done, go work out a little bit later on, come back for the day. But like by noon, my pressing shit's done. Like,
that's awesome.
By noon, like what I need to get done is done. And the rest is like creative mode, reading mode, putting stuff together, making calls, marketing stuff, doing posts, that kind of stuff. But all my pressing stuff is usually done by 12 o'clock.
Take care of it first. What
Yep.
you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So what about the last 2, like before you go to sleep, do you have a regimen that you have, or is it just kind of whatever happens?
You know what? Usually it's, when we have the kids, they're like, we do stories with them every night in the meditation room. We do like I am powers, these little cards that we do as well. They're in bed by a little after 9 o'clock. Sarah and I usually watch like one episode just to unwind, chill, relax. When we don't have them, like we usually work like 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night because we just want to pound in that work. Again, usually an episode before bed. And then after that, it's not PG rated, and then sleep.
Yeah, I love it. What I want to talk about is I didn't tell you I was going to talk about it, but relationships.
Yeah.
So you have an amazing relationship with your partner, in business and outside of business. I think anybody listening to this that maybe wants to start doing that, what should they be aware of? Is there any processes you put in place that make it not, boil over in the bedroom? You know what I mean? Like how do you separate the two, but still intertwine the two?
So advice on couples who want to go into business together?
Yeah, please.
Oh man, come to our workshop in 2019. We'll help you out.
Yes.
Honestly, I think if Sarah wasn't as patient as she is, it probably wouldn't work so well. It took us about 6 months. Honestly, it took us like a good 6 months to really find our stride, to find kind of roles, responsibilities, because what's hard is like, at first you're kind of like, you don't want to be telling someone what to do because you're kind of partners, but then you're treating this as a business. One of my strengths and my equal weakness is that I've got zero emotion when it comes to business. So when I look at business, it's like looking at the matrix. It's ones, it's zeros. Like I don't have a heart in it. When treating clients is different, but when it comes to like running a business, to me, is not an emotional experience. It's a business experience. So a lot of times I boil over in the conversation in terms of a very non-emotional way, a very strong way, a very like, it's just this. That's hard for a lot of people to accept, especially if someone is more emotionally based. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of hardships, let's say, because like, I'd be like yelling and screaming. I'm like, this is a business meeting. This isn't a relationship meeting. And like, and honestly, I'll give Sarah a huge amount of credit in terms of like, when we talk business, there's business Joe, there's relationship Joe, right? So it's not taken personally. I mean, even like yesterday, we're talking about like, we don't remember the last time we had a fight. Asked us this last year is a very different story. It was a lot of learning how each other works, learning what mask to put on at what time. And at the end of the day, like we've never, once business is over, business over. And we've had some really like huge blow-ups. And then once that conversation is done, it's like you leave the boardroom, so to speak, and then you go home. Now our boardroom's in our house, which is also pretty hard, but we kind of leave everything in the office. And when it's done, it's done. And at the end of the day, we like now the point that we're at now, we're very, very both proud and comfortable, and we know what each other's strengths are and how good both of us are for this business. And I can trust that I don't micromanage her, and she doesn't micromanage me. As long as we're up to date in terms of what your roles are, what my roles are, every day we're working towards building this business, it works very well. I think the relationship that we have is very unique and very rare too, because we know a lot of other couples that just don't have the same personality traits. So when they come together, one is very strong, one is very weak, one's trying to carry the other person. One really isn't entrepreneurial, but wants to be in the business, and that person's carrying that person along. And that's hard. I mean, it's very hard to teach two people to not only be a really good couple, but then how to be very strong in a business relationship. As you mentioned earlier, if she wasn't a killer badass, then this wouldn't work very well in business.
Yeah.
I need someone that has that same passion, that same drive, who wants to wake up early. Usually when I wake up, before the kids are up, she's on her computer doing the emails for the day. And it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and she's already working. She'll be working till 9 o'clock tonight. She's got a podcast at 8 o'clock. She's working all day long. She's got meetings today, and I'm in the same boat. And we just support that. So, it's not gonna be 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh, do you like to do that podcast tonight? Or do you like to do this tonight? Like, why can't we just go out for dinner? Like, we're fired up watching both of us move our business forward. It's one of the hardest things that I've seen so far, and whether it's subconscious or consciously, like more and more couples are now coming into our mentorships and coming into coaching with us, because I think they see us working together and they think that we have a magic formula. But that's like me asking, like, if you see those people who are married for 80 years and you're like, man, what's the formula? Well, the fact is they have to be those two perfect people together for that to work. And if you took that man and put him with a different woman and that woman with a different man, it wouldn't work. So it's some things can't be taught. Some things aren't really taught. They're just, and both of us have been in relationships where that's why they ended. Like it wasn't this. And I've always wanted someone to work with, and so has she. And we've never had that. So when we finally did, we're just like, well, this is weird.
It's working, bro.
It's working. It's good. Let's just keep working on that. But working on it. Like that was a huge emphasis, is, working on it. But if you're in a great relationship and that person is not a good entrepreneur, don't you think your relationships can get better because you're going to business together? Yeah. That you both need to be rock stars at business to make it work. Otherwise, you basically have a glorified employee that's your business partner, and it's going to piss you off.
Ooh, that's huge. That is huge. I think a lot of people try to fit it in. I'm the entrepreneur, but let's just try to bring him or her in just to make them feel like they want to be. And really, they probably don't actually want to be. But you're trying to get them in so that they don't get pissed at you for doing a podcast at 8 o'clock, right? Before we wrap up, I want to go a little bit back, though, man. To the homelessness, right? We didn't touch on it too much. Can you kind of just tell me about your situation during that time, what you were going through, and how and what you did to get out of it? And the reason why I want to talk about this is because whether somebody, they're not homeless right now, but they're going through a tough time. And I want to see how kind of you took that turn into a tough time and how you took the turn out of it, so others can go ahead and do the same.
The first time I was 20, just at the highlights of my life. And that was a situation where I had brought in a roommate. Unbeknownst to me at the time, that roommate was a drug dealer. Shortly after figuring that out, I was like, shit, what do I do now? I'm not going to kick him out because I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Literally, I came home one day and I was renting a basement apartment, and my landlord's like, you got to leave. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I guess the landlord found out there was drug deals going on at the house. And this dude just got me kicked out. Literally, I'm away from work one day, and now I got nowhere to live. So I put all my stuff in storage. And at that time, I didn't want to tell my parents. So I had 4 friends at the time where I would spend 2 nights at each friend's house, at their parents' house. I was living in Brampton at the time. One guy was in Orangeville. So this is unbeknownst to you, but we're talking like 45 minutes away. Wow. I'd work, drive 45 minutes, sleep in his basement on his parents' couch, get back up in the morning, drive back to work. And I just kind of bounced around. This went on for like a good 4 to 5 weeks. Because I didn't want to overstay my welcome anywhere. So I'm like, guys, just like once a week, if I could just crash for 2 days. Their parents didn't really care. It wasn't a big deal. It was obviously not a long-term solution. That led to basically just the rock bottom, and then finally me going back to my parents and that kind of resolved that. The last one was 2013. Wow. Around there, 2013, 2014. And that time, I just opened up the gym. I was in a different relationship at that time. Kind of made a bad decision where, financially it was better to kind of live together. And I just opened the gym, spent a lot of money. I was basically broke. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can live with this person, it'd be so much easier and bills would be taken care of and I can, focus on the gym and it's better for the kids. So, I moved in there and that was just a disaster. It was just a disaster from the get-go. About 8 months later, it turned into like a massive eruption. I'm just like, I got rid of my townhouse. I got nowhere to go. I've got 2 kids. Shit. So I literally once again just packed all my stuff, put it into my brother-in-law's place, and I was like, I'm now homeless with 2 kids. I'm like, holy shit. This was over, in December over the Christmas holidays.
Wow.
And I was spending some time at my parents' house, lived with my brother-in-law for like 2 or 3 months, which is tough. I mean, this is my ex-wife's brother. So now I'm just like, what the fuck did I just do? How did I even let this happen?
Yeah.
My kids are sharing a room. I didn't even unpack. I just have a mattress on the floor, and this went on for like 2 or 3 months. And again, this is just nothing's ever going to be, truly perfect. Business was going decent at the time. It's not like I made some massively horrible mistakes, but it's like shit happens, and a good situation. My kids understood what was happening. They knew what was going on. I was very open with them, and life's not perfect. And in essence, I'm glad they've seen hey, you know what? Shit, we have to deal with a bad situation. We no longer have our toys, and we don't have our room anymore, and we're never going back there. But we're not dead. We don't live in a war-ridden country. We're not fearful for our lives. We have clean water, we have foods, and we have clothes, and we have a great school. Cool. And Dad bounced back and found a new home and started over once again. And things are good.
What's the one thing though that you went through, man? Because if you're sitting there, what's the one thing you could tell somebody that this is what you need to do? This is what you need to think? Because being homeless with 2 kids during Christmas, that's a punch in the face. And you talked about it earlier. People who get punched in the face and wipe the blood off and say, you got me, but I'm going to come back at you. That's a different type of mentality. What was it that went through your head or something you did to get you back to, obviously creating the better life for yourself?
Honestly, John, again, we go back to that whole victim mentality. I have a hard time ever being a victim. Even that through that whole situation, I'm just like, I don't know if you can understand or resonate with this, but I truly believe that anything that I want in life has already happened. I just need to catch up to it. Right. So to me, the way I did a post about a year ago, and I want to find it again. It was basically imagine a carpet all rolled up. Right. So this big, huge, giant carpet roll is rolled up, and then you're on the edge of it and you're slowly pushing that carpet. To me, that's life. It's already been wound up. It's already there. It already exists. You're just slowly rolling it out. And as you roll it out, more is unfolded, more is unfolded, and more is unfolded. So that's how I kind of treat life. I'm like, look, this is just part of what's supposed to happen. The next person who's supposed to come into my life is going to happen because of this. The next opportunity in life is because of this. Because of that situation, I'm finding, a new home 800 meters away from my gym. It was nice and close. It was like everything just after that moment unfolded exactly the way it should have unfolded. And more bad things have happened since then. But when I look back at where I am now, the house that I'm living in, the relationship that I have, I get to coach my son's hockey team now that I've never been able to do before. That was all rolled up in the carpet. It just wasn't supposed to happen at that time. I had to keep pushing, unraveling it, unfolding it. And now I'm getting to live it. The things that I want to do 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, they're all on my vision board. And every day I'm like, it's already happened. That house is already mine, or that vacation's already mine, or whatever. All that stuff, all those experiences, they're already mine. I have to catch up to it. So I can't say it's just one thing. It's the way I perceive setbacks. It's the way I perceive a punch in the face from the universe. It's just smile, great, cool, keep on working. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the world, best fighter of all time. He lost fights too.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is the perspective.
Yeah,
perspective.
You either have that growth mindset, or you don't, and that's hard to teach for some people. I can't say I was happy every single day living in my brother-in-law's house and smiling. There was times where I was just I had flashbacks to being 19, 20 years old. I'm like, where did I go wrong again? What was that tipping? I'm like, oh yeah, that was a wrong decision. Okay. But again, it's my kids grew up in a very great house despite being, in 2 separate homes. They're healthy. Everyone's healthy. Everyone has what they need. The rest is semantics. It's a home. It's this home now. It's a different home later, whatever. As long as we're all happy doing shit together, and I can give them good values, then is it really that bad?
Yep. I love it, man. That's awesome. Thanks for being vulnerable going down that path too, because it's not always easy, but like you said, a perspective I think is the biggest takeaway in that whole entire piece. I want to do what I love to do at the end of the show. Are you ready? Because I'm going to give you 4 words, bro. 4 words, and I want you to tell me top of your head what you think. It could be a word back. It could be a sentence, whatever it is. Are you ready to rock?
Hit me.
All right, perfect. So the first one is fear.
Use it.
I like it. Success.
Work for it.
Hustle.
Smartly.
Oh, yes. That's one of my favorite ones to ask people. There's so many ways we can go. Lastly, failure.
Once again, use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, man. And it's not always that easy. Guys, you guys listen to this. It's not easy to tell you. I didn't tell him what I was going to say. So awesome, man. I appreciate it. So this is the time of the show where the whole point of this podcast show is for people to be better today than they were yesterday with actionable tools, right? Taking massive, aggressive, annoying action daily with the shit that we go over so they could truly be better today than they were yesterday. So this is where I want to ask you, what are 3 things, no particular order, that they could start doing immediately after they're done listening to this podcast so they could be better today than they were yesterday? Guys, get your pen and paper ready if you haven't already written shit down. You're crazy, but I got my pen and paper ready. Joe, what are your top 3 things, brother?
Shit, you didn't even prep me for this, man. I got to come up with some greatness for this. So step number 1, I would definitely say is vision. You need to have a clear vision of where you want to go. And a lot of people, so whether that's a year from now, a week from now, start small, start big. I don't give a shit, but you need vision, whether it's a vision board, whether it's goals, targets, tell people, whatever it is. Step number 1 is basically vision. Step number 2, I would say, is start journaling / tracking. You need to track every aspect of your life and your business. If you want to lose weight, you got to track your food and your cardio and your training. If you want to increase your business and you don't know what your closing percentage is, your average package price is, you don't even know where your referrals are coming from, you don't know where your business is coming from, you're not going to grow. So track everything. I track, we have I actually created a book called My Business Pal for fitness people to track their business, where their leads come from, stats, all that kind of stuff. Number 3, if you want to make a change, I would say your circle of friends, your mentors, your people, whoever you're learning from is develop that relationship. Most people need to get rid of their friends and get new ones. Honestly, like that's been, it sounds ridiculous, but earlier this year, Sarah and I just sat down and said, we need new friends. And we just started asking more successful people. We're like, we need new friends. And they're like, we too, us too. We're like, cool, let's be friends. Change your circle, change your life. So huge vision, track what you do, and then surround yourself with the best possible people that you can find.
I love it. Bombs to drop, man. Now, those are awesome. I couldn't agree more with every single one of them. And I think number 2, that journaling and tracking is where a lot of people in the business world, and not even trying, like you said, losing weight are totally missing a boat. And I appreciate it, man. Those 3 are absolute beasts. And yeah, I did not tell you what we were going to do because it wouldn't be as fucking fun, man. This is your time, man, to tell everybody where they can find you, where they can go ahead and creep on you, what you have coming up and everything. Floor is yours.
Honestly, I'm pretty easy to find. If you type in Joe Arko into Google, I can't escape. That's one thing I'll never be able to do. So my website is joearko.com, joearko.com. That website has all my other sites. So that's like the central hub for everything that I do, whether it's the business stuff, the fitness stuff. My Instagram is on there. It's the easiest way of instead of sending people to 5 different places, just boom, here you go. In terms of stuff coming up, man, it's just teaching, man. I love teaching trainers. I love teaching business people. I love coaching. That is my passion. Sarah and I have a lot of great stuff coming up this year. Next year, we're holding our first very own summit as well for business people, for fitness professionals. We got that coming up in next April. But otherwise, check out the website. Anyone wants to hit me up, my contact information is on there. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear what you think about this show. And for those listening as well, stuff like this and what you're doing, John, is not easy. People are taking time out of your day. I see the amazing setup you have there that's cost you money, a lot of organization, a lot of time. So kudos to people like you who want to help other people and to, people like you and I don't think people realize how much shit we do for free. And to be honest, we do so much shit for free because we love doing it. And the amount that we give back, we know comes back, and it just feels good to give back. So I know you're making a big impact and you're doing a lot of great stuff. And I want to, take the time to also thank you for putting this together and for having me on and for doing a great job.
Man, I appreciate you so much. And more than just this show, you and Sarah, I hit her up on the DMs and ask her some questions like, man, what about this? And it's funny. One thing she hit me up, I hit her up asking her a question, and she had said something that I knew already, but she was like, basically shut the hell up and just do it type of shit.
Yeah.
And it's like what I tell my clients. And it's just so good to be in that circle to have people that, I admire and look up to and kind of tell me the same exact shit, because we all need to hear it. So I appreciate you, man. Guys, you need to go follow Joe. You need to go figure out what he's doing. Go to their summit next year if you're in the fitness world. Something's coming out with the relationships. I love that. I can't wait to see what's going on with you guys coming together and doing something there. But guys, go follow Joe. He's an absolute beast. Yes, in person and in his mind. But for real, he's doing amazing big things. And I would not have him on if not. And he's dropped tons of value. So go show him some love on his social media. Hit him up if you have any questions. But Joe, man, I appreciate you. Do you want to leave them with anything else? Any last words?
Don't share your big dreams with small-minded people. That's one thing I would definitely recommend. Share them with like-minded people. I've made that mistake many times. I use it to fuel me, but honestly, we live in a world now where it's easier to be a millionaire than ever before. People are just too fucking lazy to do it. So if you want it, go out, get it, take it. Do what you need to do.
Dude, that was my favorite quote so far. Like, don't share your big dreams with small-minded people. Damn, that was good. That's going up on the sizzle reel. I love it.
You gotta check out my post from last week, man. I did a huge post on that. I made the mistake of sharing that with someone in my family, and it was just it was a nightmare. And over the summer, the same thing happened. I think most people really start to fail because they share their dreams with the wrong people, and it just brings them down, and they just don't want to try.
That's a whole nother podcast we got to do. Because I'm a huge believer in that. We got to get together and do another podcast about that, because I 100% agree with it. Man, Joe, thank you so much for jumping on here and taking some time out today. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, go follow him. Remember, don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe to this podcast and write a review. Something that Joe said has changed your life or changed your day. Write a review, give him a shout out. And last but not least, share this shit out to somebody that you know can use it. Add value to somebody's life today by sharing this out. And make sure you guys find me on social media at Real John Marrone. But until then, we're going to see you next Tuesday. And guys, keep creating the ultimate version of you. Have a good one.
Let's go!